Hey guys, welcome back to the Fight Me Bro betting show. This week we're going to break down UFC. I believe this is UFC on ESPN Plus 34. It's a mouthful to say. In other
The
words,
names are just getting ridiculous.
it is. They
They're
need
like Mad Libs.
something. Yeah, it's a whole sentence at this point. But it's Alistair Overeem versus Augusto Sakai in
Banger.
a much anticipated throwaway card.
Fight
Dana
of the
White
year, maybe.
literally saw the calendar and thought, no one's going to be fucking caring about UFC fights this weekend. They're going to be worried about getting boozed up and nice and good and drunk. So
Quick, forward-thinking thought, too, by the way. Cut down on the – Dana, just fold the – I mean, he is folding the hand metaphorically with this card, just in the sense that it sucks.
Yeah.
And it's Labor Day. But then now next week, you've got – and I love me both Angie Hill and Karate Hot. I think that's going to be the headliner next week.
I mean, that's intriguing, but
that's not a headlining
if that's
fight.
the headliner, I'm very scared to see what the co-headline is and what the main card is.
We're just on a skid, man. I mean, Dana, just
what's funny?
Less events. Less is more.
We've been talking about the Holly Holm versus what's it called fight.
That's probably on there next week.
No, I looked. I have no idea where we got that from. It is not even within the next 6 weeks.
I thought they pulled.
I know.
I was searching.
It, maybe it was just on Best Fight Odds where they don't post all the odds. But a couple weeks ago, I looked and just out of curiosity, I'm like, I don't see this card anywhere. So we'll see. But this week, I mean, we don't have a ton of bets, but we got to mention this before we get into the bets. We are fucking red hot white fire back again. We went 6-0 as a team. Did we have any overlapping picks? I think you had Neil Magny. I had Magny by decision.
That one was kind of a. We did. No, we both had the over.
Over
the over that we thought was a 5-round over that ended up being a 3-round over.
Yeah,
it still hit anyway.
Just as easy. My lock of the week. So we're hot, and I'm feeling like I can't miss. I legitimately feel like I'm I can just look into the crystal ball and pick the fight. So that could be either very good or very bad. I have 4 bets. Nick has 3 on his slate. So I'll get started. My first one up is going to be Montella De La Rosa versus, is it Vivian? Vivian Araujo?
I believe Vivian Araujo.
Vivian Araujo at plus 155. I think Montana De La Rosa is a very, not just a solid prospect, but she's just a solid fighter, all around. If you have a good grappling game, that'll get you really fucking far. And this Araujo girl, I think she's got 2. She's beaten nobodies. And she just had a loss to Jessica Eye. So, not gonna lie, I did the old Sherdog test, got that far. I'm got it. Montella De La Rosa, I was already leaning her as soon as I saw that Jessica Eye lost. Had to hammer it. So plus 155. I really like that bet.
That's my first pick too. Easy pick. Hey, great minds think alike. When you're 6-0, if you're picking all the same shit, you just winners. When
there's only one right pick, that's why we're getting the same ones.
I mean, over here it's just Floyd Mayweather W throw GIF. It's just instead of the L, we're doing the W's. That same thing. The first big red flag was the Jessica Eye loss. Obviously, that sets off all the bells and whistles in my head. The other thing is I was watching the Vivian chick. It's a lot of sizzle, not a lot of steak, is what it seems like. She tries to do the whole I'm going to move a lot, confuse people, a lot of feints, a lot of this, and it's not the what's a good comparison? I guess it's not the TJ Dillashaw, Dominic Cruz, you're doing all this moving around and then there's offense coming behind it. She's just kind of moving around with very limited output coming. And then she just that's kind of the Jessica Eye fight actually was relatively competitive through the first round. And then she just tired herself out by doing a bunch of useless shit. And so and we didn't see much of a ground game, I guess, from her, but I didn't see enough offensively that was going to make me too nervous about this De La Rosa fight. And then you watch De La Rosa, and she also sort of gassed, not sort of, she was gassed against KGB Lee.
Mm-hmm.
But like you were saying, grappling instincts are a plus, and she still was able to get takedowns.
Mm-hmm.
And by get takedowns, I mean sit KGB Lee down. She just kept getting up, which was like good on her. And then again, De La Rosa is not going to confuse anyone for some outstanding striker, which is, I guess, the point of nervousness here. But I wouldn't be surprised. She tosses the first round. The other girl's just going to, if she can't get her down right away, takes an L in the first round, and then as this girl tires out, it's going to be a lot of – because the one thing De La Rosa does well, in addition to just have good grappling instincts, is she finds the body lock around the back well, and that, whether you like it or not, or whether you get the takedown or not, is a great way to just put a round in the bank by just sitting on someone's back with a body lock. Even if you're standing against the fence, just kneeing them in the thigh. Mm-hmm. Some might call that the Neil Magny. So I expect to see a lot of that, and at plus 155, easy pick.
Yeah, that was an easy one. Sometimes we say bets just stick out at you. That was one of them. Next up for me, you said a lot of sizzle, not a lot of steak. That's this next fighter, Jalen Turner. I'm taking Thiago Moises over Jalen Turner because old Matt, I've come a long way. I've changed a lot. You see, when I see this guy in shorts, it's like 6'3", 155 pounds, like 25, I think, 27-ish, like young in his career. Unreal, reach. I see all the things that make my eyes light up for bet on Jalen Turner, which is why I'm betting on Moises. And when you start to dig a little deeper with Turner, he's only 9-4. He's only had a couple wins in the UFC, and it's really only when he's able to use kind of like that physical advantage. And if he doesn't, then there's really not a whole lot there at this point, at least I've seen. So I like Moises. He's got a few fights in the UFC and a couple solid wins. So at minus 160, I think it's pretty solid. Should be a solid win for him.
I will be going the other way on this one. My initial reaction was to go, I did want to take, because I do actually like Thiago Moises, and I feel like he's always a kind of a relatively decent, he's in pretty good scraps. I don't know. He
always makes me think of Moises Alou, and so I appreciate that from him.
Okay.
I don't know why
that. Something. Mm-hmm. Might pee on his hands. Mm-hmm.
Did Moises Alou like pee on his hands? Was that like what he's known?
That's like the most well-known Moises Alou fact. He would pee on his hands, and he said it prevented bat blisters.
I didn't know that's where it stemmed from. Like, I knew that's where it came from because people, like weightlifters, would always be like, yo, pee on your hands. It'll help the calories. And I just never knew where it stemmed from. I thought it was about weightlifting. Moises Alou, what do you know? Well, thanks, Thiago Moises, for leading me to learn that. So even more, that's even more reason to bet on him.
Right. But so I watched a couple of those fights. The only thing that I guess, so in Thiago Moises' last fight, he fought this Ismagulov guy. Now, this guy actually seems pretty fucking legit. I have no idea why I haven't heard of him, but I was just
like he's like 19-1 or some shit like that. Like
and I have never heard of him at all. And I was just going through trying to see what Thiago Moises' most recent fight was that wasn't heel hooking Michael Johnson, who, no offense to Michael Johnson, but I assume has no idea how to defend a heel. I actually remember that, and I was like, oh wow, that was a pretty like lame heel hook that he still caught him with.
I forgot about that. I did not know that even happened. So like, okay, that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, how much credit are we going to give you for heel hooking Michael Johnson, right? So the thing with Moises, he's going to get there, I think, because he mixes things up. He throws, he has a relatively round. He throws kicks. He's not just solely kicks, solely punches. He shoots. Like he's obviously got submissions, at least the ability to throw them up. He's getting there. I just don't think he's great everywhere yet. And I think in that Ismagulov fight, he was struck like the kicks seemed to, I don't know. He was getting scored on with punches or strikes at distance. In Ismagulov's case, they were kicks. In Jalen Turner's case, like you said, he's 19 feet tall, so they're going to be punches probably. Jalen Turner doesn't punch too much. I got Jalen Turner mixed up with Randy Brown because they're both at 19 feet tall for their division. And
I think Jalen Turner is the one that knocked the dude's mouthpiece out, and I fell in love with him. I was like, this guy is the truth. He fucking hits harder than fuck.
Yeah. So, well, then he went up to 170, got his ass beat by Luque, and then came back. But so him beating up the guy that he just beat, I literally forgot the guy's name. But Jalen Turner's last win, that guy was a straight up bum. That guy sucked. So that you can't take really anything away from that fight. What I looked at the thing that stood out to me the most on this one was the Matt Frivola fight, and Frivola won, beat Jalen Turner for sure. But like Frivola's a dog, man, and that's what I'm saying. I just don't think that Moises. I think he's going to need to get a couple takedowns to win this one because I think the range is going to fuck him up, and he's only got 3 rounds to figure it out. I don't know if he might get 1 or 2, but I just don't know if he's got that type of range, like chain wrestling. That Matt Frivola he would just eat punches in that fight. Like Jalen Turner fucking cracked him.
That was a great fight. I think I bet on Jalen Turner that fight because he knocked the guy's mouth guard out. And then after that fight, I started betting on Frivola because I like the way he styles. He goes out there, he's making a dog fight. He's just like the all-American type of wrestler. Like we're brawling. Jalen Turner did not like that, and I guess I don't know Moises is game enough to know if he's like capable of doing that.
I don't know.
But
that's
hopefully he
pisses
on his gloves and gets the fuck out there and fight.
That's the thing, though. Even in the Frivola fight, I thought Turner, at least defending now. I don't know if Moises starts coming in with heel hooks and other stuff. Who knows what the fuck the submission defense looks like? But the guillotine, Frivola threw a lot of guillotines and Darce type chokes at him, and Turner actually looked okay. So I think without that just dogged takedown style, I do think that Turner, I'm leaning Turner. Plus 148. I like him to bank 2 rounds here. I don't think we're getting a finish out of either of these guys, but we'll see what happens.
All right. Interesting. Next bet for me, it's one that I loved about 3 weeks ago, and I love it even more now. It's OSP over Alonzo Menifield. I'm not ready to believe that OSP is washed up, and I actually was impressed. Well, I mean, he's washed up, but I don't have any reason to believe he's more washed up.
Make no mistake about it. He is washed up.
Yeah, he's washed up.
How washed up?
We're plateauing at where he is washed up, where it's like
we've reached the cruising altitude on the washness.
Yeah, so I know that fight with Rothwell, I was actually kind of impressed. It seemed like he was pretty big for the weight. So him going back down to 205, I think will kind of help him in this case. Maybe help with the cardio at least because he had to lose the weight. So I don't think OSP is the type of guy that's like, oh, I really need to set the cardio pace, but he had to have at least done something. And I'm also going with the OSP by subline plus 250. Menifield is just a fucking brute, man. Like I said on the last betting show before.
You have 5 picks.
Yeah, 5 picks in 4 fights. Yeah.
Oh wow!
When you're hot, man, you gotta ride the hot hand.
Shoot.
Even if you're getting dealt. This is when I'm at the blackjack table and the shoe is at like a bad count right now, and I'm still just rolling with like, damn, I'm getting dealt fucking 13 versus
splitting
17, and I'm still doubling down. I'm like, okay, let's go. Like we're gonna grind out these wins. But yeah, Menifield is just like he's the type of guy who's gonna knock you the fuck out. And that's pretty much it. I really don't know. He's not going to wrestle you. He's not going to do anything else. And I don't know necessarily how much training he's done elsewhere. This just seems like it's cherry-picked the type of person that OSP will catch in a Von Prue. And
it really does.
It's like
it really seems like it's kind of set up like, hey, let's keep the gimmick going.
Everyone's going to be like, yo, look at this dude. He's bricked up. And OSP, is he over the hill? He once fought John Jones, took him to a decision. And then it's going to be like, yep, he caught him.
I can see the sequence of events too. Mm-hmm. OSP will be getting rocked because he's washed up.
Because he gets hurt and then gets dropped, I think.
But Menifield's gonna get tired.
Yeah.
And then OSP's gonna shoot the desperation takedown to prevent himself from getting knocked out. And then he's gonna take Menifield down because he's just not that great at wrestling, and he's also tired.
Yeah.
Menifield's gonna try to defend said exhausted takedown with a guillotine. And OSP is going to Von Prue. Like, I know the sequence of events.
You see what I'm saying? I feel like I could look into the crystal ball right now. And like last week, I had a feeling about Grasso. I had a feeling about Magny. I just have a feeling about this. I've had a feeling for weeks. So, if you're not right, if you're not riding the hot hand, then yeah, go Benefield by KO, which is I think is the next most likely possibility. Or I can also see a world where we get a round one where these guys are throwing and then they just completely gas, and 2 and 3 are just some of the sloppiest 205 work we've seen in quite some time, which
Yeah.
I'm here for because that'll be hilarious to watch. So, yep, those are
Yeah.
2 picks for me, OSP and OSP by sub.
Okay, well, that leads me to believe that I think we have the exact same lock of the week, which
Yep.
is going to be the old heavyweight faithful over 1.5 rounds in the main event.
No, wait, what? No, we don't. I saw it's over 1.5.
I saw over 1.5 at minus 190.
No, I'm saying like I don't have that on my card. I didn't even look that I didn't. We don't have the same.
Oh, that's
odds.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But over 1.5, mostly because first of all, any Overeem fight, if you have a 1.5 over nowadays, just hit the over because he has descended not descended, I guess shifted laterally. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not a good thing, but he's shifted to a place in his career where he has little to no interest in just getting in brawls. And a lot of his game relies around, okay, establish distance. How do we get in the clinch? How do we soften people up with knees, and not knees from Overeem days where he was going to shatter people's rib cages, and which he still definitely could do. But more so, how do we get to the clinch, knee some thighs, really wear down on these guys? That just seems to be his thing nowadays. And in terms of engaging people in the middle of the cage, with these kind of short, how would you describe it? Like these shorthand leg kicks from inside the pocket, basically, and then throwing hooks and stuff. He like that Overeem left the building years ago. And then on the other side, you have the Sakai guy who, yes, he did just like I was looking up and down the W's and L's. He did just knock out Marcin Tybura, who Marcin Tybura is not that good for starters. And second of all, then you watch his other fights, like with Blagoy Ivanov, who is infinitely more durable than Overeem at this stage of his career, I would say. So I don't know about the best metric, but in his other, and Arlovsky too, who is comparably durable to Overeem. Sakai, which good on him. He's like an actual technician of a kickboxer at heavyweight, but he's not doing the classic heavyweight swing and bang strategy. He sets up distance. He's like
he's trying to fight. He's not trying to
like
brawl.
a schooled Muay Thai practitioner.
He's
so
fighting,
with that,
brawling.
if we have him trying to he needs time to establish distance and range and set up leg kicks, and Overeem needs 2 rounds just to circle around and not get knocked out right away. I mean, if this thing has to only go 7.5 minutes at minus 190, I'll pay the piper on that one.
Yeah, no, I actually, I'm remembering now I did see it because it was minus 200 when I saw it. And I just thought like, that's a lot for a 1.5 over. But, when you think about it, and which is why I might put it in right as soon as we hang up here, is like, at least you have one fighter in that fight that's trying to go to a decision. And like in most heavyweight fights, you have 2 guys going out there. And they're like, no, we're trying to get out in the first round. Like either I'm going to knock him out. I'm trying not to get knocked out and finish him in the first. And that's what both of them are trying to do.
A lot of the time in heavyweight over 1.5, you're banking on
that failing.
I don't want to say durability. Yes. And then they get tired.
Because
this
if you get to the first,
then
the first half, there's like 30 seconds of worry because there's always one guy being like, okay, but if I finish him real quick right here, I don't have to do the whole round. But when that flurry doesn't happen, then it's like, all right, we're going to lean against the fence here. And that's not necessarily the type of fight that Alistair Overeem or Sakai would have. But I think like Overeem's going in there being like, all right, I'm going to sit on this bench at the end of the round, like each round. Like I think he thinks if I finish him, great, and I'm looking for the finish constantly, but it's trying to get
the game plan
it.
is to win 3 rounds.
Yeah. Although I am a little nervous about like Alistair's chin because at this point you got to imagine there's nothing but just dust in there. Like
You're on borrowed time for sure.
What?
We're on borrowed time for sure.
Yeah.
His chin is just made out of fine china at this point.
If you had like, I don't know how they would be able to look this up, but like a Guinness Book of World Records of most times knocked out, they got to be up there.
Yeah,
Like,
him and
I
Troy
mean, Alistair
Aikman.
Overeem's got to be up there. Like, what is he probably been knocked out 35 times? I'm just going off the top. If you think
Yeah.
about with his like kickboxing days too. So, but I like that. I might put that in right now. But my lock is going to be this Kale Rosa. Wait, what is it? Kale Rosa. I'm like, is Rosa just in my head because Montella de la Rosa versus Shajar Eubanks. Going Kale Rosa here because we are a show based on principles, and on this show we are team fuck Shajar Eubanks. We always have been, always will be. She talks a whole lot of shit for doing a whole lot of nothing.
This
Just
is
fuck
true.
it sucks. And I watched a little bit of this Kale Rosa girl. She's 5'7", 135. She's
Holy shit.
yeah, she's like a
She's
full
like a
135
tank.
pounder, and she throws. Like, she fucking actually can hit you, hurt you, throws leg kicks, throws a jab. And I sold. And because Star Eubanks is 5'4", so she's gonna have a little bit of reach advantage. And plus, in Rose's last fight, the girl came in 6 pounds overweight, and she still won because you could pretty much bank on Sajar Eubanks. She's probably going to come in at least 3.
2 to 3.
It's going
At
to
a
be
minute.
at least, yeah, something. So she at least is like used to that. So I already put that one in, put it for a nice little 4-unit spot. But I'm only doing 2 units on the show. Love it here at minus 130 because, I mean, I almost want the UFC to keep Sajar Eubanks because she makes a good heel. I think it's just the consensus pick on everyone being like, yo, this girl sucks. And it's not even like a Colby Covington where, like, he's, like, purposely trying to get people to hate her. Sajar Eubanks is just really
She thinks
good at
that
being hateable.
she thinks that she's like getting the public backing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She thinks there's a
Which
side
she
that
is
people
not.
are like, us versus the world. And I'm like, there's no us. Like, it's you. It is
Yeah.
very clearly you. So those are our picks. Like we said, we are hot. So tweet us out any picks. If you get any inside details about any injuries, feel free to slide into the DMs. My handle is Broliva. Nick's is _a_guy_in_a_gi, and you can find us at Below the Belt MMA. I cannot promise if we will be live tweeting these solely based on, well, take a look at the card.
The card is horrible.
That'll explain
If
it.
anything, I'll do you one better and say that we will not.
All right, we will not be. But until then, we'll see you next week. Peace out, guys.